Excellent. Well, thank you for joining, folks. We're excited to be here, as Melinda said. Again, wanted to thank you all for attending today. We have an exciting agenda today, and we wanted to make sure that we cover a lot of it. So we're going to get into some of these slides and really make sure that we answer a lot of your questions. So first of all, I'm excited to be involved with Microsoft products since back in the late 1990s. And really worked with the product group and the marketing group to start the formation of the product itself, and really had a great time with even P Central for some of those that are way back in the annals of Project Server and Project Online. So definitely shoot me a text. At the end, there'll be a call to action. You can reach out to me. We can touch base on any sort of questions that you have. Also, we talked about some upcoming webcasts and events. Hey, if you're at any of these or close by or want to attend, come on over. Introduce yourself. We'll go out for a drink. We'll chat for a little bit. We are doing some webinars that happen every other week or so, and there's a bunch of things that are out there. But if you see something or you have a question, make sure you go out to our blog. There's a wealth of information there. If you don't see it, shoot us over an email. We'll make sure we'll get you the answer. So what are we talking about today? Well, we have some learning objectives that we want to get through. We want to make sure that with recent development, there's been releases on Office 365. There, as you know, different things that have been pushed out there for Planner and Project. What is everything going on with the groups and what is happening with SharePoint lately? So if you're hearing this and this recording happened in September 2017, so a lot of might have already happened. So make sure that you go out there and get one of our later webcasts that tell you exactly all the new updates. But as of September 2017, we got some cool weather coming in through New England, baseball getting into the nice season, and the kids' activities starting. Let's try to figure out what's going on with Planner and Project. How do I use which of those tools? And what does it really mean to have task versus work management? So we'll talk about me work, okay, and us work, teamwork, things like that. Integrating Planner with tasks and the like. We're going to make sure that we get into there and understand what you can currently do with Planner and also what you can do across the board with some others. Getting started, we're going to just show you a couple little things that you can get in with Planner as well as Project Online. If this is the first that you've been introduced to either one of these products, we'll definitely make sure. But if you do want any more information on both Planner and or Project, make sure you grab one of our webcasts or go out to our website and get some more information because there is a wealth of it out there. So we're going to be doing some tips and tricks for you. I'm talking about the maturity life cycle. We're going to get you started so you can actually go out there and use some of this today. If you folks aren't on the release set where you actually can see some of this information, meaning getting the Planner to Project link on your Project Online tenant, don't worry. It's coming out. Microsoft is rolling this out. So you can reach out to us if you want to get started with a trial or something else. We can make that happen. Otherwise, we also do integrate the two down to a really discrete task level. So we'll also be talking about that. And then, as you can see, I'm passionate. I'm excited about this. I'm going to probably move fast, but also give me a little time out. We have folks that are looking at the chat panel here, and if there are questions, we'll make sure that we stop and answer some of those. But we'll also have some Q&A at the end. I'll pull up that chat panel. We'll take a look at all that. All right, so great. So the first question, whether we're doing this online or in a session, what I like to do is hear back from you folks that are on here. So what are you currently doing with your organization? How are you managing work? How are you managing tasks today? Are you a pure Microsoft shop, right? Do you use some other tools that are out there? Are you using emails to collect status on tasks? You have sticky boards, whiteboards, etc. All right, so who's working on what are the questions that we're trying to answer today. not only who's working on what, but when. Give me visibility to all my tasks. Give me visibility to all my team's tasks, and tell me if they're completed on time. And then lastly, if we're working on the right tasks and the right projects at the right time, then we're doing something that rolls up to the organization, right? And we're getting things done purposefully. So that's what we're going to make sure that we're answering some of these questions. I can see some of the answers coming in from chat here. Yes, not only SharePoint, yes, Yammer we'll talk about. Yes, some competing as well. So there's definitely a bunch of stuff that is coming over as well. All right. So let's continue on here, and we're going to take a look. Let me pull this window here just out so it's not showing on across the board. Perfect. All right, so I got you here. So the first thing, I'm a big picture kind of guy, right? So I want to understand what's everything we're talking about today. So he mentioned something about tasks, and that's why I joined. But really what I'm trying to do is figure out all-inclusive work, or am I doing some project or portfolio management? Well, let's clear the air for a bit. Task management is really through the life cycle of the task. So think of this as me work, things that I'm doing individually that I need to get done that may or may not, but typically does not involve other people within the company. So I'm going to do it. It's going to be my work. Now that bucket of work that I'm doing, those tasks that I'm doing could roll up to other initiatives like projects, okay, other programs, other things like that. When we talk about work management, now we're really talking about a solution, okay, of information that's going back and forth to different things so we can see information. Some of you folks replied that, hey, we're using things like Basecamp and Jira as well as, Microsoft Dynamics and Microsoft Project and seeing that integration. And what we really need today, and while we're on the call today, is to understand how quickly I bucket off some tasks, maybe for some marketing, business development, product management groups, and I want them to be able to do all of their tasks, but I also want to manage this collectively from a work perspective and also see across all the projects so then I can see that information. From a portfolio level, what we're really trying to look at here is understanding the whole life cycle of it. So starting initiative, assigning tasks, getting status, and oh, by the way, when is it done, right? And did we do the right project compared to what we said our business drivers and strategic initiatives were? So those are the basics. Today we're not going to be spending too much time on project management or portfolio management. We're going to settle in on the work management and task management. So you heard this me say a couple times, and thanks again to all of my colleagues over at Microsoft that provided some of these slides, particularly in the New England region here and the West Coast. So the me work, again, this is where we're doing our own individual work. Think of these as every day when we come in, if there's a prioritized list waiting for us, perfect. That's my bucket. I'm going to go and start doing my work. The we work, in this case, we actually need to socialize. We need to communicate with other folks, okay? And we're not just talking status here. We literally need to be working with others, okay? So we have some tool sets with Planner that we're going to talk about, and we also have some tool sets with Project Online as well as Office 365 that we're going to be showing you today. And then department work and company connections. Again, department, larger groups focused on a single initiative, common goal, and then the connection to the company would be, okay, how does this weave across the entire organization? Can I contribute or collaborate across the entire organization? And as you start to see some of these things pop up, we talk about task management for individuals, ad hoc teams for work. All right, great. You guys, whether you're doing a sprint, you're doing some print stuff, or you don't even have a methodology. Just go get some work done. Use 4-3, he's and she's, go get something done come back to me in a week, let me know how it's going. Formalize project teams, and then moving up into an enterprise view across not only teams, groups, programs, terms like that. And that's what we're going to, really see the entire solution set across all devices. Now, this sort of spawns on to a whole series that we have of webcasts about talking about portfolio management made easy, advanced project tips for green, work and management, really a project online 101, and then task management, what we're talking about today. We're actually just on the bleeding edge, the cusp here last month of taking red and blue and knowing from our primary color days, getting into our world of color and purples, if you will, and talking about managing both work and project together. Now, typically we don't talk about products, we talk about solutions, but I do want to pause here before we start seeing some of the tool sets themselves. So if you're doing that me work, typically, and folks have answered, thank you, those folks that have answered here, I'm using SharePoint list. I'm using Outlook tasks. Perfect, great. Some of those could be up there too. The app called Planner is something that if you're not using yet, after today, you should go check it out. We use it today for our organizations, our marketing groups, our business development groups. They're not used to the complexities of Microsoft Project. They're not used to, they don't have Jira set in tasks. They don't have anything in Basecamp or work groups, right? They need still to do work, okay? You can do that very easily with Planner, and we'll walk you through that. Now, Project Online, an amazing tool, very robust, okay? Really designed for that formal project management, but across all sort of water flow, agile, etc., and really bringing that all into that inclusive. But you're really focusing on managing those projects and getting things done. Now, wouldn't it be great if Microsoft joined these? Well, partners like us out there have already created hubs. So if you really need detailed from pulling even from SharePoint, pulling from Jira, Basecamp, work groups, etc., into Microsoft Project Online or simply a reporting platform, we've designed those, in our hubs and different things. So that's not what we're talking about today. We're actually going to talk about individually managing tasks as well as project tasks, and then as of a month or so ago, talk about that integration. Now, I sort of like this slide. I put this together maybe a little late one evening, but we took our concept of our maturity life cycle for PPM, and you folks can reuse this, and share this. And if you have, some suggestions, definitely get back to me. But as you're progressing, what tool should I use and when? You're trying to answer those questions. Well, where are you within the maturity? When I say you, right, this is your opportunity as you or a group. We're not talking your entire organization. So you need to look at this across the organization from a maturity perspective, but from a tool perspective, look at your group itself. So marketing, quick projects, repetitive things. Maybe we are just using, some SharePoint and OneDrive and Planner, okay? Just get it done. Let's go in there, right? As we progress through, some of you might be using project and information that have a WBS or work breakdown structure, things like that, okay? And then what we're also going to be doing here is the portfolio piece. And as you start to grow and progress your organization, you're really going into that run mode, or that, I like to call it the well-oiled machine here, of using all the tools, and you're no longer talking tools and products and Microsoft acronyms. You're talking business lexicon, getting your actual work done and making informed decisions. So today, we're going to start off with Planner. We're going to look at how do I make a decision between Planner and online? What are they? Show me these, these mystical tools here, and then let's figure out where we can use both of them. So if you're on the area saying, hey, I'm really unfamiliar with project management tools, or I'm using something else like that we mentioned, a competing tool out there, and I really want to start doing some sort of task management. Well, Planner is a great option for you. If you want to enable your team to use things like OneNote and Outlook and SharePoint, and you're like, man, isn't there an easy button just to create a group and they would get a OneNote, they would get SharePoint? Planner's your answer. By creating a group in Planner, it creates all that for you. It's done. And then, you know what? I'm just not into new tools, right? Or you have an organization that's just not into new things, and they just need really easy, and they want to drag and drop some things and see some, some different boards, and that's where you'd be looking at Planner. Then if we progress into, tracking baselines, you hear anything about dependencies, okay, at all, you should know you're going into a more advanced tool like Project Online. Planner does not, right now, Planner does not do task dependencies very well, okay? You can show some different things, but if you complete one, it doesn't say, all right, you need to do this and that and the other thing. You can link it in there, you can see some things, but it's not a true task dependency. Timesheets and really getting 40 hours a week for your resources. Not going to happen in Planner. You're going to do that within a tracking tool like Project Online. A few of these you folks can read through, but this tool right here and on our website, you can actually go in there. I have a blog on here that talks a little bit more, and one of our colleagues has also put together here a whole list for an upcoming webcast that's well more comprehensive than this little slide. And then when you hear anything about issues and risks, think Project Online. When you're talking about, okay, well, I'd like to have the flexibility and folks that do, the quick, easy drag and drop, and they feel comfortable with Planner. I got them in there with SharePoint, and they feel fun and good. But I also need some details with tracking risks and issues. I want to do both. Well, you can actually link the two now with going from online to Planner, or with our integration points. You can actually go from Planner back to online. You can do that. And then if you want a simple visual to see what's going on, you actually can use both. You can use the views in Project Online, and you can use the other. Okay, so we have a scenario here. And I'm not going to go through all this, but it highlights, right? We have Diane Prescott. She's a product manager, and she's managing a bunch of efforts here and really trying to get this virtual headset up and running. And she spends all day, right, in her emails and going back and forth with teammates, going back to the client. She gets phone calls for them. She's, whiteboarding and sticky tabbing all over the place. So she coordinates things daily by email. She gets progress on the phone, emails, whatever it happens to be, and she needs a little more help. Planner's perfect for this, okay? She can actually go in, create a Planner group for these folks. They can come in when it's on their phones, do a checkbox, it's done, okay, I'm done with this task. They can create other tasks. They can have pictures. They can have a lot of different things, okay? Project, here we have Raul, who's more of a manager. He has multiple projects, multiple tasks and work across. He needs to see visibility across all projects. He has dependencies that he needs here, and he needs to create a status report on an automatic basis. That's going to lean more towards Project Online. If you hear anything, again, of issues, risks, dependencies, you'd be leaning towards Project Online. And the last would be, okay, we have our Dianes and we have our rules and everybody else that's out there in our organization, and we need to be able to offer everything. And I'd like to report on it from a management perspective. This scenario is where you link the two, and you get information both from Planner and from Project, and you're able to report on a level across the organization. So when we talk about Project, for those, because I did see some folks have not seen Project Online yet. For those that have, you know that you actually can create a new project from a project. You can have a workflow that's associated to it, approvals. Well, it gets back into a task, and you can see on the right-hand side, I can come in as a team member, and I can see my planning window, and I can see different tasks by different projects, and then also I can do a lot of resourcing from the tool. But all in all, I could see all of my tasks in one area. I also could see all my tasks across the organization for all my group or my organization, which is helpful as well. Now, when you do risks and issue and management, again, all of that through Excel or Power BI, you can pull that right from your Project Online tool. So on the left, you can really see where all of our tasks are coming in. We're getting statuses on tasks, and we're actually seeing that and being able to report on it. Oh, and by the way, I want a risk matrix and other things that we can see in there from a project perspective there. Now we talked about team collaboration in Microsoft Project. Absolutely, you can do that across the board. You actually have some of this with Planner. You get different OneNotes and different groups as well, but the benefit here is that this links right into the project. So now folks are entering in status to their projects, to their tasks. We're seeing that. We can see late. Folks can interact at a high level with discussion points. Much more collaborative involved a project setting. Okay? Is that the best? Not for every project. For some projects, we just want to get started and get it done. In-roles Planner. Okay? You can see here that Planner has the Office 365 fully integrated into it. You can get your work on the left-hand side and see all your groups. If teams are created, meaning SharePoint teams as well, that user interface is built and pulled into Planner. When you're talking about Office groups and the likes of that, again, you can roll some of this directly into Planner. And as you can see here in Planner, you have things that are categorized in this case. And you can categorize things by buckets or groups by, okay, a bucket or strategy. We've had organizations that have taken this and put it into different sprints. So you have sprint 1, 2, and 3, and they literally move. You can see right here, the sample, you're moving that task back and forth. Very visual, very pleasing. Some folks that use some competing tools out there are going to say, oh, wow, so we can actually use Microsoft Planner here rather than paying for that expensive license that we have because, by the way, if you have Office 365, Planner is free. Okay? Once again, Planner is free for your organizations. You can have lists within these tasks. Okay? So these tasks go out to your organization. Someone like Wendy or Josh can actually go into that task and put a bunch of tasks or lists that they have for that task, or a link to a document to update. Very powerful tool. And when you open up this attach, you can attach different documents. Again, they'd be on the Office 365, so SharePoint. You can do version control, history, comments, all this great stuff, all within the tool set at your disposal. You even have links. So this is where you sort of sit back and go, wow, we can, colorize things, have different checklists, all this great stuff. But what doesn't it do? All right, again, you don't have this vision of a task is linked to a different task and you have this project, in your head. Now, what if we want to be able to, this Finnish company picnic slideshow links into a project? Great. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit on how that links up to project and how you can actually see the status that goes back and forth. But within project itself, you can actually start to get some views and some built-in charts and information right from the tool set itself. So it is going to provide this for you. Now you can go in there and select different favorites and customize your Planner hub, if you will. But overall, remember, Planner is a service that's given to you by Microsoft. So you're not going to hear a lot of custom reports or custom views right yet in Planner. It's a lot of out of the box. You work within the confines of what Planner is giving you. It's very powerful and a very cool tool. It's just very prescriptive in what it does and what it offers you. All right, so we took a look at what Planner is. We took a look at what Microsoft Project Online was doing from a high level, and we talked about the scenarios of when you use both or when you just use one versus the other. Now, we've recently updated these slides, and I'd like to give full credit to where credit is due to Microsoft and one of the gurus of Microsoft, Brian Smith, out there, who has a nice blog on up there, and I've actually reposted some of his blog and added some more comments there. But some of these slides are going to come right from that blog post that Brian did a good job on. So now I know it says coming soon here, and that depends on who you are, meaning which tenant you have out there. But soon, let's just keep it soon to come as of, again, September 2017 if you're listening to this recording. And when you go into Project Online, you open up your project and you go to the task ribbon, you're going to see on the right-hand side a link that says Link to Planner. And if you click on that link to Planner, on the left-hand side, a wizard's going to come up and says, hey, great things. Now you can join your project plan, your project schedule and the actual task, okay? So we're going to say project task, and we can track that and link that over to a planner plan, okay? So we're linking a task to a plan is what you're going to be able to do. And again, if you don't have that already, it would be rolling out. But let's walk through what we can start to do with this. I'm going to select a task there, and you're going to take that task, hit the planner link, and you can actually now go off to Office 365 and link to that planner task. So when you're over in Planner and you're saying, hey, this is done, what it's going to do is it's going to come over here and link to this actual task, okay? Now, if you want really detailed integration, and there's the key word, integration between Planner and Project, come talk to us and we'll talk to you about the different integration hubs that we have that pull in details, okay? If you want to go from a really detailed level from Microsoft Project and pull that over to Planner, then we can talk. But for now, we're taking a great stride forward, and just out of the box, soon enough, you'll be able to link these. You can go off and search your different groups from Project into Planner. Now, so what happens when you start walking through this? Well, first of all, you go forward, you can see which projects you're choosing and which plan you want to link to, and you can actually choose, okay, which one you're doing. And here's just some samples, okay? You have a group out there and you have one plan versus two plans. You actually can sync this up, and then you'll publish this project. And that's really what you're trying to do, is when you sync this, now you've got a link. And what that link is going to do is it not only is going to allow you to have your status, okay, and you'll be able to see this link, but it's going to bring that over from an icon perspective. So you'll actually be able to see this information on your slide, or excuse me, on your Microsoft project schedule. And after this, I'll actually go into the tool and show you a little bit more about both Planner here, so you can see some of this. So keep those questions. I see some questions that are coming through right now. I'll definitely get to your answers there. So once you create that link, you can see down below here that you're able to go ahead and see that little planner icon. So along with your other icons that you have at a task level, you'll be able to see that planner. So that hot link, then, if you click on it, jumps you right in this case, you can see that I'm jumping into another planned task there that's coming over to the summer leadership off-site there, and that's directly linked. So great. We now have a link from Planner up to Microsoft Project within the tool set, no customization, no integration, just simply out of the box functionality that's been recently released by Microsoft. So really cool tool there. When you go off though, and this is where you might see this information, you're going off and saying, there's an example here, here's another task we're trying to do. It says, hey buddy or gal, you already have a link here between the plan and another task, okay? So this is where, again, you really wouldn't link that plan, two different tasks to the same plan. The thought process there is typically you're linking in at potentially a milestone level or some other level that you as a project manager want to get the information at, and then they are going to manage that in a plan by themselves. They're going to create a bunch of other stuff and do all this crazy stuff, and you as a project manager, you don't really care, right? You're not too worried about all the little weeds that's happening. But me, from a work perspective, gosh, golly, I definitely want to be able to see all that information, and I want to be able to see it all very quickly. So where would I do that? I would do that over in Planner, okay? And I'd see to the nth degree all those tasks in Planner. Okay, we are a little over halfway through here, and I did want to pause right now to see if there's any other questions on where we came from and what we just discussed, and then I'm actually going to shift my view here and get into a couple of these tools. So let me go ahead and just pause my sharing and go ahead and share the tools. Perfect. So I do have a couple questions. Let me see that are coming in here. Again, use the chat pane if you have any questions. Yes, folks, so the planner link that's out there on the Microsoft project, if you don't see it again, it is being rolled out by Microsoft, okay? So you may not have that already. If you don't, you can reach out to Microsoft. You can reach out to us. We don't have a schedule currently on when Microsoft is rolling those things out, but again, we'll be able to see that information when it comes up. All right, so I am just switching gears here. We're going to get over to Planner, and we're also going to get over to Project and take a look at some of this and be able to see some of that information in real time. Okay, so first things first, let's jump into Planner. There we go. Get rid of that. Okay, Planner, where did you go? All right, so there we go. Sorry about this. All right, so Microsoft Planner. We are taking a look and trying to understand the holistic view of teamwork. And when you get into Planner, okay, on the left-hand side, you'll actually be able to take a look, and you can see all of my groups that are out here. And again, if you have this synced up, you can actually get right into some of those groups that you have. What's going to be created is a OneNote. You're going to have a bunch of other information that's there. And you can actually see on the left, right-hand side, things that I've had that have been completed, in this case with Planner. And I also have a couple things that are actually linked to Microsoft Project. And if I come into one of these, again, you can see a bunch of things. Here is my checklist, okay? I have an attachment, and I have some other things that are in here. And this actual task happens to be linked directly into Microsoft Project itself. And these views that you see, these group by progress, again, you can also have by different buckets. So in this case, you could have by your area of plan. So maybe we have the e-commerce rollout, the marketing. The reason why I'm talking about this is as you start linking plans, multiple plans, up through Microsoft Project Online, this is a very helpful view to see, okay, all right, which plan am I working on and what is going on with all of that. Okay, so let's take a look here at Microsoft Project and open up this project itself. And when I'm going into the actual project, sorry about that, here we go, is we're actually going to start to see that e-commerce. And when you get into the e-commerce, you can see those tasks that are there, and you can actually get that information directly back from Planner. So it's the symbiotic relationship from Planner into Microsoft Project that's going to help you time save. The goal of this, and here's that document requirements right here, okay, that's coming over. When I go ahead and I update my document requirements in Planner, this would come in and be 100% complete. Now, with Microsoft Online, you would still have, as a planner, or sorry, as a project manager, have the opportunity to change that task itself. Do we need to add in additional effort and additional work? Because remember, in Planner, folks, we're just pretty much saying that this thing is done. All right, I'm done with my task, and I'm moving on. Where as far as project goes, you might have some different questions, right? You might be asking, is there remaining work? Should someone else be working on it? What's the status? All this other good activity, okay? So again, what we're showing here is the ability to link those tools and make it easier on your organization to then go ahead and do some overall reporting. And as you pull up your different views and your different dashboards in this case here, and you will actually be able to see some of those e-commerce and all these different projects that we're pulling in from our plan and the tasks that are coming in from Planner right into our tool set, so we can get that portfolio view, that portfolio level dashboard. And you actually can get this all the way through, as you can see, through Power BI. And this happens to just be a quick Excel. And I was trying to pull up our dashboard here, which looked like it was taking a little time. But you could see that on the dashboard itself as well. So I'm going to switch back over to our slides here. And I'm going to make sure that we walk you through and just answer any questions that are out there as far as the linking goes. Okay. So project, yes. So I mentioned on Microsoft Project that you'd want to capture potential remaining work. Absolutely. So Microsoft Project, yes, you're going to get down to the really the detail level on the 3 questions that was, as we ask as Microsoft, or sorry, as planners themselves, as Microsoft project managers, is what I'm trying to get out. So project managers should be asking 3 questions, and these are they. You know, how much work has been done? How much work is left? Okay, and then do we need to extend the duration? So those 3 questions that you're asking is going to give you everything you need to update your task. In Planner, when you update things, all you're really doing is saying, yes, it's done, okay, or it's in progress. And that's about it. You're not going down to the level of, I worked 8 hours a day on this task in Planner. If you want some of that information, again, you're probably going to have to do a little more heavier of an integration, not only between the two, but also to call out what you're capturing within Microsoft Planner itself. Could you go back and show the drag and drop capability? Sure. So the Planner capability, when I talk about drag and drop, let me go back here, is within Planner. Microsoft Project, you can do some drag and drop capability as well, but it's all around the team Planner view, actually. It's called within Microsoft Project. You actually can drag and drop between unscheduled. But for the question that was asked, the drag and drop capability when you're in Planner is literally taking that task, those boards, if you will, and you can take it from here, the obtain corporate sponsors logos. You can actually take that and drag it, to theme for review. So it's to do, now it's going off for review, and you can keep creating those, those new buckets. Now, if you have workflow within your organization and you're thinking, okay, wouldn't it be great if we create a task, we finish that task, and workflow pushes it to the next stage? Absolutely, 100%, Ala and different folks that are talking about this out there, yes, you can. But we don't use Planner for workflow, okay? The workflow within Planner is literally getting this over to Microsoft Project, and then, okay, we're using SharePoint, okay, we're using Microsoft Project workflow to move those buckets, if you will, from one stage to the next. So very good question. Yes, you have workflow within Microsoft Toolset. Typically, that's within Project Online or SharePoint versus something like Planner. Okay, so I don't see any other questions right now on that, so I'm going to continue on. I do want to, for those that are online, make sure that we get to some of the resources, and then I'll circle back and show some of these other goodies here. All right, so the call to actions, I wanted to get through this before we do some more Q&A here. Start using these today. So get out, start leveraging Planner. Use it for, any little project, if you will, that you're unsure of using a WBS or a really structured project, and see if it works for you. Our team starting, they're using it. I can tell you some of the teams use it a little better than others, especially within our clientele, but really it's up to you. Once you start using it, you'll see that it is very flexible and it's very easy to get set up. It comes again with your SharePoint, your collaboration area, your OneNote, okay, and your Outlook email. So that's really kind of cool. If you want PDUs, yes, you can definitely submit a PDU for watching this. You'll get the 1 PDU credit. We are recording this, so if you'd like to get this or our takeaways, we have, which is listed on the last slide, is we have a takeaway from a planner, so managing your own tasks. Go ahead and grab that. And then lastly, for the PDUs, if you'd like to claim a PDU for this, go ahead and email us out and we'll get you the PDU code. Or you can also search for the PDU code that's out there. I think it starts with PPMW, that's Peter, Paul, Mary, Walter. Okay, go ahead and search for that and you'll be able to see that all of our events, but this one in particular. Okay, well, let's wrap up with some questions that folks have. Make sure that we get everything. But for those folks that have seen, have heard, and don't have any questions, I wanted to thank you for being on the call today. And let us know if you have any questions on either Planner, Project, or when to use which one. And I think one of the really cool tools, and I'll leave it up here, I'll scroll back, is making that decision point on when to use Planner versus when to use Project. Great. All right, so I'm going to go back to that slide. I see some folks typing here, so I'll let those go. And I'm also going to go ahead and stop the recording at this time. So again, thank you all for joining this webcast. Have yourself a great day, and we look forward to seeing you on some additional webcasts or on our blogs or at a couple upcoming events.